Peace to you.
And to you.
Welcome, family and friends from across the world. Welcome to our Kheltiamas celebration of the Lady of Light. We're honored to have you with us. We celebrate with you in this year of 2021 on this darkest night. The triune forces, sunlight, moonlight, and starlight is always with us, but tonight is the most important night. The moment it dies and is born again, along with all creatures and creations in the world. In love, in trust, in faith, let us begin.
Exalt the divine feminine. It courses through us all, that which moves and bends, which love creates and destroys, and all the reflections we hold dear. Be with us!
Be with us!
Exalt the divine masculine. It courses through us all, that which fights and climbs, which defies and protects and dances, and all the reflections we hold dear. Be with us.
Be with us!
We remember the sky, the places of beyond and of divinity, the inspiration of the heavens, the wind that touches us. We know you.
We know you.
We remember the land, the places of here and now, the stability and that which brings us life, the earth and all that walks upon it. We know you.
We know you.
Remember the sea, the places of beneath, of primal knowledge, of change. The depths we travel and will wander again one day. We know you.
We know you.
The strength of the Lady of Light lies in the midsummer, when the sun bakes the world and lends its growth to the plants that we tend and consume. This year has been full of changes as we readjust to life. While it has not perhaps been as hard as the year of quarantine, it has been more chaotic in the mess left behind, for good or ill. As we come around, speak where you were at the beginning of this year, and then what has happened. Finish with, I speak these things for good or ill, and close the door.
At the beginning of this year, I lived in my own apartment. Ending this year, I have moved into a house that is large enough to support my entire family. I, in many ways, feel less stable this year than I started out. But I've learned that change is a process, and I'm learning from my mistakes. I speak this for better or for worse, and I close the door.
At the beginning of this year, I was stuck, I was stagnant, I was unsure I knew what I wanted, but I was unsure where life was going to take me. Now at the end of the year, I'm still unsure, but I see many new possibilities, many new opportunities, all of which is exciting but also very scary, very thrilling. I don't know who I am anymore, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. I speak this for better or for ill, and I close the door.
I began this year in an entirely different city and honestly wasn't that great for it. And the course of this year has honestly been a ride, and I'm not quite as stable as I once was, but I'm probably in a better place for it. And so, at the end of this year, I think that there's plenty of possibility to be had. So I say these things for good or for ill, and close the door.
At the start of this year, I was in an inadequate house for my family, and at the close of this year, we have found housing for my family and extra. I speak of these things for good or for ill, and I close the door.
Beginning of this year, I was in a bad place. So many people dying that I knew. Me getting sick. Throughout this year, more death came, but I learned how to work with that. I learned how to accept chaos as part of my life and use it to bring goodness. And I speak these things for good or ill. I close the door.
At the beginning of this year, I was in a slump, I guess you would call it. But at the end, I have a pretty good job that I enjoy, and I'm able to somewhat provide for the family. And I speak this for good or for ill, and I close the door.
At the beginning of this year, I was working a job that I hated in a place that I detested in hours that were not adequate for the other parts of my life. But since then, I have started a new job with even wackier hours, but it's working out a lot more in my favor. I speak of these things for good or ill, and I close the door.
At the beginning of this year, I can't say I was really me. I was going through a lot and not being completely honest with myself. As the years going on, I've gained more of my identity. Everybody calls me Mr. now, or at least the ones that figure it out. And I got a minister card. Lots of changes are still coming. And I speak these things for good or for ill, and I close the door.
At the beginning of this year, I did have 4 walls and a roof, but the company that I had under that roof was extremely bad for me. I have since left that person behind and replaced them with my family. I got married, I got a boyfriend, and they and their children live with me as my family. I speak these things for good or for ill, and I close the door.
Here in the moonlight, it is time for our present work. It is time to listen. In the darkness, in the nothing, we say. Even death, the Rona Akos, has passed away for the year, and here we are. The nothing grandmother lay in to dream of us. The silence that comes only on the longest night. The end of the cycle is here with us. Perhaps that is why we feel so empty sometimes this time of year. Something in us knows that one cycle is ending. It is also perhaps why, in nearly every civilization, we try to fill this time with light and color and laughter to remind ourselves that a new cycle is beginning. As we try to take a moment to accept this nothing, we have to remember what makes us, what makes up our world. Starting with you. You've been letting things go again, haven't you? The things you need for yourself, I admit I have. But even while you're struggling, we've been growing, haven't we? I am so proud of you. Whether you paid that bill or washed your hair or not. The universe is proud of you too. One of the best part of ending things is the breath where you give it all up, even the guilt. Take a moment. Forgive yourself for the little wrongs you've done towards yourself. Have you been punishing yourself? Giving into the anxiety? The worry? Have you been denying yourself the things you need? It's time to breathe in and out and let that go. Forgive yourself. It's time for a new cycle. And the only thing worth carrying forward is knowing that you've done your best. And even if you haven't, you will. I have faith in you. It's been another rough year. And even though it's getting better in some ways, we're all still so exhausted. We're left with broken pieces that might still cut us. And we don't know how to rebuild. We don't know what to rebuild or how to even start. And that's the beauty of the Tower card in the tarot. The lightning struck. The clouds came and rained upon our pointy heads. And you know what? We're still here. And we're here for those who are wandering now. We've celebrated that, especially at Akosa, but now is a time of wondrous opportunity. Now we can make something better, something beautiful, something comforting and right. And in little ways, you can. You can decide that everything is forward from here. As the new year begins, there is so much work to do. The stones of the tower revealed not rot inside as they fell, but it also cleared the view of the beautiful sky, my friends. We can have it if we choose to. You know, one of my favorite phrases we toss around at solstice time is, on earth, peace and goodwill to men. It comes from the Christian Bible, in the story where the birth of Christ is announced by angels. But it is so much more important even than that. The stories we tell each other, the stories we build faith on, are told for a purpose, so that their lessons become part of our divine society. So let's look at this one. On earth, peace and goodwill to men. Isn't that beautiful? On the whole earth, every rock and spirit, every beast and tree, every person, equal in humanity, peace. A moment to know the end of the cycle in the beginning, to let go and be ready for another fight, another day. It's talking about peace in one's self, about letting go of the emotion, but not of the cause, of finding peace and forgiveness for yourself, about renewal. Peace is renewal in the end. A moment of survival that lets us remember why we do what we do. And goodwill to men. The word goodwill dates back to the 12th century, when it was two words. Good will. Good is something we choose to do, right action, compassion, and integrity. And, well, we know will, don't we? Our divine will is part of our faith. Men, here we'll update as we do to humankind. Because, well, there's a lot more than men around. That was the backwards meaning at the time. So how does that evolve? It becomes compassionate will to all humankind. Gods, it's a beautiful thought, isn't it? Can you become part of that just for a moment? All the pain, all the scars, just for a moment. To embrace love, compassionate will for every human being. Knowing that there are those out there that wish you the same. Knowing that there are those who don't. And leaving only the hope that one day they'll figure it out. It doesn't last forever, I know. You're entitled to that pain and that anger and righteous indignance from those people, but this is part of letting it not rot inside you. So just for a moment, just breathe. Remember that all the love and hope you have for yourself, you can have for every living thing. Breathe with me. Take the moment to feel the world as it turns under you, supporting all 7.9 billion of us and trillions more life forms hurtling through space. The universe reflecting itself in this chaotic, fragile, beautiful world and let yourself love the whole thing. Let yourself accept the love directed towards you as well. This is the light. This is the hope in the darkness. Not that there will not be difficulty, but that there are moments like these where we understand just a little bit how very precious we are. How precious the ones around us are. The moments we're happy, the moments we cry and are held, the moments we celebrate because of our fragility. This is the light of the Lady of Light. The first moment something burned hotly and shone into the cosmos, and the last light of day that becomes morning. This is the hope. This is the hope I offer you. Freely and without judgment, in the hopes that you feel the same, even if only for a moment. And you can be better. We can be better. Not for anyone else, but for our own light. To lift each other up, to trust, to hope. The cycle turns again. The sunlight pounds into us and eventually wanes. The shadow work, the moonlight, is the dark we stand in now. But the place of starlight is the wish, the hope for the new year. So we will remind ourselves that the light comes again. As I pass around the candle, light your candle again and speak your heartfelt wish, your will for the new year.
My hope for the new year is for recognition, acknowledgement of who I am trying to become, and the support to manifest that reality.
My wish is that I will continue to grow closer to my partners and work out issues with them, and that my family will grow stronger.
My wish for the new year? Health. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
My wish for the new year is to have the continued strength to overcome the challenges that I've overcome so far, and that strength continues to overcome all the new challenges that the next year holds.
My wish for the upcoming year is another year of employment and a possible promotion.
My wish for the new year is to continue down the path that the forces are leading me, and to continue to get stronger, both in my health and in my strength and physical.
My wish for the new year is just to continue to be able to make a house a home for me and my family, and to be able to have the time to spend with all of my family and all of the ones that I love.
I guess I'd have to say that today's lesson kind of hit me hard. So my wish for the new year is to take today's peace with me throughout the next year.
As I listened to this lesson and reflected on this year, I realized that I've pushed myself too far to make everyone else happy and set aside my own happiness. And that I have also done myself a great deal of damage in that. So my hope for the new year is that not only do I learn to re-love myself, but to also hope that people will see the efforts that I put out in public, understand that there are stuff they do not see behind the scenes, and that I am only one person, and that I have to put myself first before others, even if at the end of the day it makes me sad to do that.
Repeat with me. 8 and 8. 8 forces, 8 spokes of the cycle. The sun will burn, the moon will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. The sun will burn, the moon will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. The sun will burn, the moon will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. The sun will burn, the moon will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. The sun will burn, the moon will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. The sun will burn, the stars will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. The sun will burn, the moon will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. The sun will burn, the moon will rise, the stars will turn, the old year dies. And I am reborn! Bring the end in the beginning. Let the cycle bring us forth into newness and into the light. Hail the Lady of Light, happy Kheltiamas. Turn the wheel!
Turn the wheel!
Exalt the Divine Feminine and her reflections. Be with us and in us all.
Be with us and in us all.
Exalt the Divine Masculine and his reflections. Be with us and in us all.
Be with us and in us all. As within, so without. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Hi! Happy Kheltiamas! We'll see you at Uhila. We'll see you at Uhila. We'll see you at Uhila. Have a happy new year. Happy Kheltiamas!